George Romero made his iconic mark on horror films in 1968 with Night of the Living Dead, spawning a subgenre that was forever etched in pop culture. In 2003, director Danny Boyle took the tradition a step further, igniting a new fire for apocalyptic zombie movies with 28 Days Later.
Welcome to Bedlam Movie Night, the podcast where we dissect, deconstruct, and exhume films from the depths of horror, action, sci-fi, and beyond. I'm Ben Marlowe, joined by John Anderson.
Hello, hello.
And tonight we unravel Danny Boyle's viral gut punch that redefined the undead for a new millennium, 28 Days Later. We don't do spoiler-free here. We believe in nothing here in the Bedlam.
Oh yeah, we're going to ruin this movie, movies you've never seen, movies that you've never heard of, so just strap in.
All right, well, let's get into it then. I'm excited for this one. I have this might be the first one that just that is this iconic.
Well, it definitely did some. I remember when this came out, and there was such a buzz around it, and one of the biggest things was like, the zombies are fast.
Right.
That was huge at the time.
It blew everyone's goddamn mind.
I saw it twice in IMAX because there was the original release that had one ending, and then like a month later, the same summer, they released another version with an alternate ending, and my friends and I were like, "Well, we gotta."
Really, I don't remember that.
That's cool. There's two different endings.
I know some because I had it on DVD, and I remember they had the storyboards, and they show you the different endings, but I never knew they released one.
They released two, at least, I remember we went to see it in IMAX like two different times just to catch the new ending.
I mean, I don't know if we just said spoiler-free, but I guess my guess would be it just cuts out right on that ending scene when they hit the gate.
No, so the original ending had, the first version I saw had Jim dying at the end from the gunshot wound, and then the girl and Hannah and Selena, they try to save him, doesn't work out, so then the ending is the two of them walking away down the hall of the hospital.
That's in the storyboard as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah,
that was the original ending, and then that didn't go over well, I guess, and so they released another one with the happy ending.
It is a happy ending.
It is a happy ending.
We are way ahead of ourselves. We are literally at the end.
Let's wrap it up, folks.
Thank you for coming. It's a
great.
Happy ending.
This movie was like so good and had such an impact that at one point Stephen King bought out a whole showing in New York City.
Nice.
That's how.
That's hard odds right there.
That's a big kudos.
The one thing that Stanley Kubrick, probably turns over is every time there's an interview to Stephen King. Oh, how do you feel about The Shining? Oh, I didn't like it. God damn it.
So I learned that the plot points of this film draw heavily on a novel called Day of the Triffids, which that novel includes like the protagonist escaping a disaster by being incapacitated, a deserted Britain, a group escaping London for a better place, and a scenario where like the soldiers go bad kind of thing.
It's a movie.
It's a movie as well? Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the movie. I didn't know it was a book. Yeah,
it was a novel at first, and then,
It's kind of cool because it almost looks like it because of it being a grainy old movie. But
we'll get into why it looks grainy on this. It's actually pretty cool, the decisions they made to get that grainy film quality in this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have opinions on that because there's like an interesting phenomenon here with this movie surviving because of just the cultural significance. And they did this like weird thing where they shot it all in, what was it? It was a Canon XL1, which is like one
of the home video camera.
It's exactly that. Exactly that. I have like two in there that I'm trying to sell, and they like created this movie on that. And they did that for a couple of reasons because it was also like back in the day of, literally no other option than practical, quote unquote.
Right.
So to get a empty street shot, they had to shut down a London street.
Yep.
And that was kind of like a flex back in the day. They did that with Vanilla Sky, but they put Tom Cruise in Times Square.
Right.
And in the trailers, they'd always just like hype up like check it out. Here's London Bridge with no people. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
like to see that?
Why?
Here's Times
Why did
Square
this
with no
happen?
people. Wouldn't you? Because you couldn't fathom that. And then the irony, though, is they shot the last scene in 35 millimeter. And because of that, they can now update that scene, and it looks gorgeous. And they can't update the rest of the movie in digital.
Well, the cinematographer that Danny Boyle hired, his name was Anthony Dodd Mantell, and a film that he had made before 28 Days Later was called Celebration, and he shot it with the same camera. So he was kind of doing this in his career before he got hired for this one. Danny Boyle saw the movie and was like, I want to do something with you. And thought that it gave the film more like a realistic feeling because it's kind of got a documentary feel.
It totally
based on that visual style.
It works, yeah, especially at the time.
Yeah, it also like not only does it stand out because of the fast moving zombies and like the road trip aspect of, you know, taking a horror movie and giving it like the road trip vibe. That visual style also sets it apart. And so it's kind of like, you know, chicken before the egg, but like Danny Boyle was making a new, like a modern classic.
That's
right?
the thing about revisiting it so many years later. It's odd because you have to really parse through the archetypes that it created, you know,
Right.
the tropes, and you have
Huge,
to be like, okay, you know, like Walking Dead took this whole thing and just stomped on it.
It made like a, what, 10 seasons? or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, and you're also saying, yeah, there's another movie. Did you see Omega Man?
Oh, the I Am Legend. That one.
Right,
Yeah, that
right,
was
and
I Am
yeah.
Legend was the remake of that.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I never
so-
saw Omega Man because it was
It's just in London is kind of the reason why
Right.
it's even more so
Right.
that one. But yeah, the I Am Legend took from that. They literally like, oh, that opening sequence, let's just make a whole movie. Though I
Right.
know that was a book too, but
Yeah.
I mean, so that's what we kind of have to talk about with this movie, because this is our first time not talking about just a movie, but now we have to talk about just kind of the culture around zombies, essentially. And
Yeah.
it's kind of an exhausting topic. I think it got a little played out like 5 years ago. I've noticed
Definitely.
there's like a phase of zombies, and then it goes vampires,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes back to zombies. It's only the other two. There's never like a mummy phase. We tried briefly in the 90s, but it didn't work.
Well, they brought it back with like the adventure, the Indiana Jones thing. They mixed the mummy thing with like Indiana Jones with all the Brendan Fraser films. They did try to bring back the mummy with Universal doing the Tom Cruise mummy, which flopped.
Well, that's
big
what I
time.
mean. They were trying to get what's going on with these zombie vampire things.
A cool little side quest though about that Tom Cruise version of the Mummy. That was Universal's attempt to rival Marvel. They were going to do their Dark Universe series, which was going to be like a, you know, intertwining all of their, you know, iconic monsters. They were going to do Dracula, Mummy, Invisible Man. Actually, in the Mummy, Russell Crowe's character plays Dr. Jekyll. So there's a Jekyll and Hyde thing, and they were going to tie it all in.
So awesome.
I really like so because the Mummy flopped, they just abandoned plans for any future movies in that.
Instead, we
that
got the
concept.
remake of The Invisible Man. Did you see that one with the lady from Handmaid's Tale?
I didn't mind that one.
Oh my God, I hated that movie.
Really?
We'll cover that one because boy, do I have some spicy takes on that one.
Oh boy.
But
Okay.
yeah, it's a tragedy what happened there. And yeah, but that's what I mean. So like right now, because of Sinners and stuff, you can tell we're in our vampire
We're
phase.
going back to vampires, right?
But right on the tail of Sinners, within a month, we have 28 years later being released. So we're
Yeah.
quite literally watching the vampire zombie battle happen right now.
Let's just make that movie. Make vampires fight. We already had vampires fighting werewolves with Underworld.
That was badass too.
So let's do vampires fighting zombies. Let's go.
Now that you say that, werewolves kind of sneak their way in,
Every now and then.
but it's always
We
with
just had like in the
vampires.
yeah, no, you're right. We just had like 2 back-to-back werewolf movies at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
There was one with
They flop every time, like the Mummy, though. I actually have watched like twice, and I still am willing to keep trying. Is the Anthony Hopkins, Benicio del Toro one? You
I
ever see that
tried.
one?
Yeah,
Right. You
it's
keep
boring.
trying.
Okay, so now since we're on the subject,
Since we're talking about
werewolves,
yes.
on the zombie movie podcast. So in the 90s, Jack Nicholson made a
Silver
werewolf.
Bullet, yeah.
No.
That was
That's
in
Gary
Silver Bullet?
Gary Busey did Silver
Oh
Bullet in
my
the '80s.
God, you blew my mind.
Jack Nicholson did a movie called Wolf with Michelle
Right.
Pfeiffer and James Spader. It
Right.
We will do that movie. It is fantastic. It's like
I can see the still frames of him with his fake eye contacts in and stuff.
100%. Yeah, great. I love that movie.
And there was like Teen Wolf with Michael
Right,
J. Fox. Like,
right.
actually, now that we're saying, why isn't there a werewolf renaissance in the way that we've had repeated zombie and vampire renaissance?
Your move, Hollywood.
Come on, give us
Yeah.
a Teen Wolf. Give us an American Werewolf in London again, remember? Yeah.
Well, that back to the matter at hand.
Yes, yes.
This was Danny Boyle's first horror movie, and obviously huge props to him. I think
Huge
about
success.
yeah,
Wow.
massive. I think it was on an $8 million budget, and it made $82 million. Like,
It's insane what this guy did. He does
Yeah.
Train Spotting, does this, then Slumdog Millionaires, where he gets his love, which
Well,
is
I
stupid.
think about Kubrick's progression a lot. Like, he had several successes, and then did a horror film. Like, it's a similar flight path, I think. He definitely shows his skills that like he can switch styles and still make one of his successful movies. I also noted that like a lot of the protagonists in his films are all in like really good shape. Like in this one, like Jim's running all the time. Slumdog Millionaire, that guy's constantly
He
running.
is moving.
Yeah. Train Spotting, I feel like there's a lot of running and just activity.
Well, yeah, they're on heroin time. That's different. Yeah. But
127 hours. James Franco's like
he's
climbing
moving.
shit.
Yeah, it's like it's a little bit Voz Lerman with like the accelerated camera movements.
Yeah. So Alex Garland, who wrote the screenplay for this movie, was not the first time he collaborated with Boyle. He actually wrote the novel for The Beach. He didn't write the screenplay, but his novel was adapted into a screenplay that Danny Boyle directed. And then after that, Garland and Boyle team up for this movie. And they just did 28 Years Later. And they're going to do the sequel to that, The Bone Temple, I think, which is already in
I
the
think
works.
I've seen
Yeah. Garland is actually kind of an unsung hero in modern sci-fi. He wrote and directed Ex Machina, the
Oh,
film.
I love that movie.
Great movie. He also wrote and directed Annihilation,
I love that movie.
and he did the 2022 horror film Men.
I hate that movie.
So he's also was the screenwriter for the Carl Urban version of Judge Dredd,
I love that movie.
right? So this guy, like,
He's really working it. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
cooking, man. Like, he's got a stride.
Men, I have a rant on, but we'll save that. So I know that for this one, since because he collaborated or the Danny Boyle with Ian McGregor, they had a big fallout over this.
Yeah, he wanted Ewan McGregor to be in this movie, and it didn't work out. And then his next pick was Ryan Gosling.
That would have sucked ass.
Right. So-
Holy God.
He went with somebody referred Cillian Murphy to him, and he went with him, and also went with Naomi Harris for the role of Selena. But he definitely wanted to use relatively unknown faces. Like, it was a deliberate choice. After he realized he was striking out with his first picks, he was like, this is a way to go because it gives the story more credibility.
Some of the main love of this comes as it's one of the best British films ever made.
Right.
And if they threw Ryan Gosling in here, it would not be. And I know
Well, that's the
Cillian
thing.
Murphy's Irish, and so is Brendan.
Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson,
Yeah.
but it still reeks of England.
Well, the thing, like, if you hire a face that's known, like if you were to put Brad Pitt in this movie, then it's a Brad Pitt movie.
Well, at the time, Ryan Gosling was not well known,
That's true. That's true.
and if he could pull off whatever, that would have been impressive.
Well, I'm never mad about seeing Brendan Gleeson show up in a film.
He's one of my favorites.
Even when he's a serious character, there's still like this John Candy thing that he's got going on that I'm like, yeah. I'm glad you showed up to the party, bud.
I literally listed out my favorites of him. I'm going to start with all the Martin McDonough. I'm sure he's very Irish, but the Banshee in Bruges films. He's in Paddington 2, Gangs of New York, Edge of Tomorrow, Mission Impossible 2.
Love Edge of Tomorrow.
And he has this one line. He's in Troy, and this is kind of a little personal side note. But I remember living in New Mexico when I was young after watching Troy, and my dog ran away, and I was looking for them, and I looked out into the prairie, and there was a bunch of crows circling, And I remember thinking of the line he says to Orlando Bloom in Troy, where he goes, "You see the crows? They've never tasted prince meat before." And I was like, that's probably where my dead dogs
My
are.
dog's out there.
Yeah, yeah. But
Thanks,
it's,
Lisa.
yeah. But thank you.
He was also in Braveheart too.
Really?
Yeah. No, he's
Damn.
got a track record, man.
No, he's the best. And currently, even just to give him more, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. You see that one?
I
The
did.
Coen brother
Yeah,
ones? Good
yeah.
shit.
Well, I touched on it earlier, but this movie definitely started the fast zombie thing and the zombie road trip thing. Like we get it later, obviously in World War Z, which is a Brad Pitt zombie movie, but he's like globetrotting to like Israel and Korea and whatever.
Right.
These guys, they stay in
It's a
England.
thing, yeah.
Zombieland does it too.
Right, I was like, what is that one
Yeah.
where they do that?
But I was reminded of a movie I saw, like, probably way too young to have seen it, but it's called Return of the Living Dead 3. It reminds me of this because the main characters are on the run from the military, and they're bumping into, like, different characters as they move and try to escape this predicament they're in. Basically, it's like almost like a Romeo and Juliet kind of
kinda
zombie
cool.
thing. Like this kid, he's the son of an army guy. His girlfriend dies, and his dad is working on like a top secret thing that can bring corpses back to life. So he like takes his girlfriend into the army base. She becomes a zombie, and then they have to flee because the military's after them.
And I also like noticed 2002 they came out with Resident Evil in March, and this one came out in June. And Danny Boyle said one of the main inspirations he got for these fast zombies was he loved Resident Evil, but he was like, this is boring. They're just standing there. But whenever there were the dogs in the video game, it would like stress him out and scare him. And he was like, let's combine them. But yeah, so we got 2002, right? The only other one that happened before that is your favorite, 1992, Brain Dead. Big, huge gap. Where are the zombies from literally Brain Dead, 1992, 2002?
Well, the Return of the Living Dead Part 3 was in there. That might have been 93, 94. Like, there was stuff happening, but it wasn't
They weren't like
that
the big...
much.
Yeah, like, because before that was 1985, Return of the Living Dead.
Right.
And then, then we can go. I want to give a shout out to 1932, White Zombie, just for starting the zombie thing. And then afterwards, the one right after the 28 Days is the Dawn of the Dead remake, because they're like, holy shit, we got something here. Let's
100%,
immediately
yeah.
remake it. And then what clinched it, I think, forever, was Shaun of the Dead came out.
Yeah, that one definitely made its mark. There's also one that's kind of a hidden gem. I think it was like 2007 or 8. It's called Land of the Dead. It was one of George Romero's last zombie ones, but
right.
Dennis Hopper is in it. John Leguizamo is in it.
Right.
And it's got this, like, George Romero created this whole, like, massive war truck that would barrel into the
remember
zombie
that,
wilderness
yeah.
and, like, get supplies or whatever. And they called the truck Dead Reckoning, which I always thought was awesome.
Another one I really like is Pontypool.
Right.
Which I think, is John Leguizamo in that one?
No, that's, what do you call it? That's a bottleneck horror movie where everything takes place in one spot.
It's
and one
badass.
actor. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a bunch.
Well, you also get Train to Busan.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, but it's actually, there's very few that, like, shook the ground. And I kind of blame
totally.
Walking Dead for ruining everything.
Right.
And then True Blood for vampires didn't ruin it. And yeah, it goes on. Yeah.
I want to touch right quick on the music. Songs for the film were written by John Murphy. And the main song that is kind of like at the end of the film and just is tied to this movie forever, it went on to have a whole other life after this movie was released. It got modified a little bit and showed up in the movie Kick-Ass.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, it's Nicolas Cage's character. I think his name was Big Daddy or something.
Right.
It's his character's like music as he's like doing his thing. Also, it got remixed to be in a Terminator trailer for the 2019 Terminator, Dark Fate, I think was the name of that one. So yeah, it has this whole other little
Is this
spawn.
the one you're talking about? Because I know the opening when he's walking around the city. Is that the same song?
I believe so.
So that's by Godspeed. You're
Oh no, that's a different one. That's a different one.
Okay.
This one is at the end when they're getting away from the soldiers and stuff.
Right, okay.
It's a pretty sinister guitar-heavy thing. And I
Right.
just like, this is what it was made for, and it's always
Nice,
associated
nice.
with it.
I was wondering because I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That
Yeah.
went on to that too.
Definitely, yeah.
One thing I will say, I think zombie films nowadays are really slacking on the thing that this whole movie rides on, which is one drop of blood gets in an orifice and you're infected. These fucking zombie movies these days, there's like one guy and he's like shooting everybody while screaming in like glorious stand and he's like fine, covered in zombie blood. No, you would be infected. Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you.
All right.
Should we get into the dungeon?
I think it's about time.
Let's get into the dungeon. So the opening scenes of this film have got a lot of footage of like riots and unrest, and that's actually footage that Danny Boyle took from Sierra Leone and Rwanda conflicts. Boyle also lifted stories and images from those conflicts and like the IRA conflicts in Ireland as inspiration for different moments of death and carnage in the film. Like the bodies stacked in the church, for example, that was a Sierra Leone moment that he read about. Yeah, there's a few that pop up, but actually I read that when he went to Anthony Mandel, when he wanted to hire him as the cinematographer, he showed him pictures of carnage from IRA bombings and stuff like that, and was like, this is what I want to do. What do you think about capturing that with your camera technique? And Anthony was like, yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, so I remember like during that time, all that like RA stuff. I was very young, but I remember in movies it was always kind of around, and this is kind of what I think why movies suffer nowadays to get really existential. It's like we didn't have the internet and stuff, but I remember being young and watching this movie and like The Devil's Own, and they would like talk about these things happening in the world, but just I was a boy in New Mexico. How I had no way of accessing that other than like watching
really-
more movies about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to really understand what that was about.
Yeah, and I just remember being like, wow, there's something serious going on because it keeps coming up in movies, but I can't
Right.
understand
I
it.
don't know anything
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
funky.
Yeah, that's true. The virus that they create for this film was actually based on the Ebola virus, which has similar physical symptoms like blood out of the eyes and
Delightful.
the mental and like rage parts of it. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland wanted to kind of make a commentary on contemporary social rage, like road rage and air rage and stuff like that. So basically, the commentary on life is like this virus amplifies something that's already within people.
And the scientists are like, the idea is they're trying to control rage in humans. Is that why they have these monkeys?
I don't know.
I think that's the idea.
Right, trying to find an antidote for society's problems or something.
Yeah, which,
But
you know...
they probably go into that in the graphic novel a little
They
bit
do
more.
a little. But at first I was like, oh, God. Goddamn activist, liberal, kicking in the doors, But then I was like, well, fuck them fucking scientists. Those fuckers are going to be with the government trying to... What's the first thing you think the government's going to do if they control our rage?
They're
Make
gonna
us
make-
a bunch of docile fucking sheep.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's the thing I also love about this movie is the
Well, that's why-
opening. It doesn't take a stance. It's you sympathize with both.
Right.
Well, I sympathize with the activists more than
See, I don't.
the scientist. Has a good point though.
He's like,
very
leave him alone.
He's super sympathetic too. You can
Yeah.
just tell he's just a worker.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the screenplay I read, they described the monkeys coming out like a gunshot, and it's cool because it kind of conveys the vibe of the zombie in itself. It's just very intense. And then the best part is gets bit. She immediately vomits in his face.
Yeah.
And then we open up, and then our minds are double blown because we find out Cillian Murphy is uncircumcised.
Yeah. Apparently, he insisted that they film the nude scenes on a closed set because he was like,
I'm a little bashful, but
Little,
please
like,
premiere it
self-conscious.
amongst the entire world.
yeah, this is literally his breakout performance. Like after this, he got Batman with
Yeah, but-
Christopher Nolan, like on and on
Blew
and on.
up. I mean, that Ryan Gosling, I doubt he would have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to start with the full nude, uncircumcised Jesus pose.
This this movie would have been the movie that like you saw Ryan Gosling's junk in. That's
It's all it would have
forever
been.
would have
Yeah.
been known as that. That's it.
No, no, that's good. That's why Cillian Murphy's penis was right for this. It was subtle. It got the point across. But he wakes up. He's walking around. One thing I got another question for you. So why are there no bodies around?
So that was a deliberate choice by Danny Boyle to avoid like littering all these scenes with dead bodies. He thought it would be a much bigger statement if the city was just actually totally deserted. Like if you see dead bodies laying around, if he's walking and stepping over corpses, it's like, okay, obviously something went bad and we can, whatever, we see the aftermath. But if there's no one on the streets of a busy city, that's even more alarming in a way. It's like, what has gone bad? What are we dealing with here? So
The very concept itself took me 10 years to question because it captivated my imagination so
everybody's,
much.
that's like, that was the hook about the, other than like, oh, it's the fast zombie movie. The trailer in this that showed the empty streets, that was the biggest hook they
No,
could
that
have
was,
given you.
yeah, again, that was their big thing with a couple of those movies.
They felt like Danny Boyle talks about like following his instinct with that because, again, it was in the trailer and that's what they were like, why is this happening? What's going on in this movie? I got to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it got me right in there.
100%. They used like primarily athletes as the infected because of the physicality that they have to do and just like all the running.
You could tell at one point they do a close up on like it's like two naked runners, a boy and a girl,
Yeah.
and it's just like nope, those are track runners running at you right now. That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
These are not just like regular.
That's like they're not they don't look anything like a zombie. We don't see their ribs. We
Yeah.
just see their abs and heart pumping.
So what do you think about this? Jim is working out father issues through the whole movie. Like we first get introduced to him and he finds that his father has killed himself with his mother to avoid the, what's going on in the world. And then he meets Frank later on. And then at the end of the movie, he meets the dark father of the sergeant, the army sergeant. So he gets like all these different versions until he like finds.
I guess it depends
himself
if you're
a little bit.
looking through just his eyes, because I actually had a very similar take, but I was kind of looking at it through all of their eyes. What's her name, Selena? Mm-hmm. She's all hardcore and cold, ready to kill Mark. Poor Mark will get there at the drop of a thing. And, they all find family, and then, then they get into this. Yeah, it's very much that. But I guess now that you mention it, it is focused through Cillian, and he does kind of like end up as the father at the end.
A little bit, yeah.
So he wakes up, he's wandering around, then he goes into the church, which is one of my favorite things, and there's something sprayed on the wall, and it says something like, repent, the end is extremely fucking nigh, and to me, that's the most British part of this whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why,
Really.
but extremely fucking nigh is British for some reason.
Definitely.
But the church is scary when he goes hello, and they go
pick up. Yeah.
Oh, it made my spine crawl even thinking about that. And
Yeah, that particular image of the bodies in the church was something that Danny Boyle read about happening in Sierra Leone.
yeah, I mean it's dark and has that, and then again, unfortunately, in retrospect, when the priest comes through, this is all very much before the methamphetamine epidemic.
Not where I grew up.
Oh yeah, it was still going. It was happening in 2002.
right in the middle of it.
See, yeah, the way he comes out walking, I was like, well, there's the guy I see every morning.
Yeah, seriously, in the park over here. Yeah.
So I will say one thing thank this movie for is the video games it is given way to.
Oh, huge.
And there is one called, God, what is it called? It's called Left 4 Dead. And it's got these vibes where you wander around, and it's got the writing, and it says, like, extremely nigh, and you throw Molotovs. Fantastic. And watching that, I was like, oh my God, I'm craving to play that game.
So I guess this could be our black belt nerd moment. After Cillian Murphy meets Selena and Mark, he insists that they go to his parents' house, and he finds his parents on their bed, and they've, committed suicide, and they're holding a picture of him as a young boy in their hands. And I immediately thought of Inception, where his character goes to his father's deathbed and finds a picture of himself as a young boy.
Really?
Very similar
God.
thing going on with this character and the character he plays in Inception.
And Christopher Nolan's not the guy you would be like, you know,
Yeah.
28 days later who he rides for. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess they're British. British as fuck, both of them, actually.
Yeah.
They are so
The
British.
scene where Frank and Jim, where they all meet for the first time, that was filmed on 9/11. Brendan Gleeson really wanted his character to, like, the first time you see him, like, he's just hacking away at these zombies and he's really brutal and he's dressed in like riot gear. And then he comes into the apartment and takes his mask off and he's just smiling.
Big
He's like,
smile.
"Hey kids, how you do?" Like, he's, gives that warmth off
Well, it's
immediately.
interesting because then they meet the army and it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, where
But
they're
it has-
warm and nice up front and they're actually really
Exactly.
fucking brutal. Yeah.
But yeah, so they have their moment on the roof. You get a little bit of whiff, just a tiny whiff of Brendan Gleeson's like, oh, when things get a little tough, I might lose control.
Right.
But then they set off to a beautiful Ave Maria scene.
That whole moment when the car drives past that field of flowers and
Beautiful.
like the resolution on it, like the camera did on that.
Van Gogh.
I was thinking
yeah.
Monet, but yeah, definitely like all of it. Like I thought that they had altered it somehow, but no, it's just like they turned up the exposure or something on
cool.
the camera. Yeah.
And especially nowadays with like every single element is controlled. It's cool just to see something kind of land like that. Especially also
Yeah.
like in the raindrops in the end, they look like hail a little bit. You know,
Right.
and that's just from the camera.
Right.
It's just cool shit
Yeah.
they tapped into here.
Well, yeah, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but originally when they go to the military blockade, the moment that Frank gets infected in the version that's out, Selena, tells Jim to kill Frank, and he goes to like hit him with the bat. Of course, the army guys shoot him down instead. But the original version of the story was that instead of following Selena's like command, Jim ties Frank down and they find a research facility behind the blockade, and there's a survivor in there that has knowledge of the cure. Jim convinces him to let them all in, and the survivor tells him like, "Yeah, I can cure your friend, but it's going to take a full blood transfusion from somebody." So Jim offers his blood and basically takes the transfusion and takes Frank's blood and becomes infected, but the whole group survives and leaves while Jim is like locked away.
That's sort of like season 2 of
Yeah,
Walking Dead,
exactly.
the entire season. But like way before he dies, there's actually some stuff I wanted to cover just for fun. That's like, so yeah, they're cruising through like the tunnel and everything, and they're having their nice moments and everything. However, there's this one point where Cillian Murphy is going to investigate a house, and it's like his time to like prove to Selena that he's worthy, because Selena's like, if you're not worthy, I'll, leave you. So he's going in there to investigate, to be brave. And the little kid that jumps out on him, that little kid is the exact same kid from The Ring and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one with Jessica Biel.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so that kid's entire filmography is just the creepy fucking kid from all these iconic
I'm
horror
sure he's doing
movies.
fine.
He's doing fine. He's in a couple other ones that I don't want to say because I just want to cast him as the creepy kid that's doing that.
Yeah.
But what also broke my heart is you see Frank when they stop and they wave to the horses. He's just always having moments with animals, so it's like really tragic.
I hated it when he died.
When he loses his character for a moment, and instead of loving animals, he's cursing at the crow. And
Right.
he just drops his like love for life for a minute, and it punishes him beyond comprehension.
Right.
Ugh, break heart. That I think alone, that moment makes this movie better than 95% of the zombie movies out there.
Yeah. Well, the soldiers find them at the blockade and take them back to their fortress. Fun little Easter egg. There's a statue of Locoon, who was a Trojan priest who warned not to trust the Trojan horse when it came into the gates, even that it bared gifts. He warned everybody, like, this is bad news. He was later attacked by giant serpents in the story that were sent by the gods, I guess, to punish him for something.
Idiot.
Yeah, you dummy. So the significance is that he symbolizes the soldiers' ultimate betrayal and ulterior motives. Like he's like they were a Trojan horse, right? Here, come, we have gifts. We're gonna protect you. This is fine.
Right.
But we're secretly plotting to do some heinous shit.
Ironically, too, though, that the thing they brought into the place, though, is the thing that destroyed him. Cillian Murphy was certainly the Trojans running around.
When they
I
when they
like
go
that we
to
brought up Troy by accident twice.
yeah, when the soldiers go to execute Jim, that was shot near a road, and the props crew put a pile of fake bodies for the scene, but they didn't clean up the bodies after the scene was done. So there was a driver on the road who like drove by and saw this pile of bodies and like panicked and crashed and called the cops, who showed up on set and were like, "What are we doing, guys? What's going
They're
on?"
like, here's $10.
Yeah, something.
I relate to that out
Yeah.
of everything we've heard today. Well, when they're getting let out, I gotta give shout outs to a very important character, Farrell. He's the guy who gets executed while Cillian Murphy escapes, and he's the guy who was trying to protect the girls.
Yeah, he
when
was
they
the
were
outspoken
rolling
one,
on
yeah.
him. I love this man so much because he's like the one who's like caught up in over his head. He's the one protecting the girls.
Yeah.
And when he is locked up, I might relate to this character in this sentence more than anything. But he's like locked up and he goes, "I bet across seas there's women or there's men with their wives watching The Simpsons right now."
Oh wow.
And I was like, that's exactly what I would think if I was in prison.
Well, that's the first moment in the movie that it's alluded to that this is only happening in England and they've been quarantined.
Exactly, it tells
Right.
that too.
Right.
It's so cool how that line does.
Yeah.
So yes, I will give you the Simpsons line and the exact joke that he's quoting right there. That's
Okay.
driving him crazy.
Yep.
But it's a very noir. It's like black and white, and Mr. Burns and Mr. Smithers are like hosting Marge to come onto a boat for some reason.
Right.
And she's like, "Can I come onto the boat?" And Mr. Burns turns to Mr. Smithers like, "What do you think, Mr. Smithers?" And he goes, "Well, women and semen don't mix." And he goes, "We all know what you think, Mr. Smithers." Very, very funny that's just the scene in this random ass movie, but yeah.
I like a lot that Jim kind of becomes like an infected after he escapes the execution. He like disappears in the woods. He loses his shirt. He's got blood all over him, and he's like operating like an infected.
Totally.
It comes full circle where he baits the soldiers out to the blockade, and like you see the soldiers getting out of the truck and like hunting him, and he'll just like shoot past the frame of the camera, like just like the infected.
And
are
he's like in
all the whole
raggedy
movie.
clothing and
Exactly. Yeah. So
stuff. I don't know how he turns into the fucking predator though.
well,
He's like
yeah,
propping bodies up and stuff like that,
yeah. It's like now instead of him and Selena being on the lookout for infected, the soldiers are on the lookout for him. Like it's definitely
No,
a
I love
role
that.
reversal.
I love
But
it. They leaned into his power a little too much.
I was
with,
like, where did this guy
prop
come from?
bodies?
I mean,
and, he's 110 pounds soaking wet.
Maybe, yeah. I couldn't help but think of Rambo as he's like taking out the soldiers one by one in the rain and the forest.
It was cool.
But also, like, where did this sudden burst of like kill 'em all energy come from? This like ex bicycle.
It was really just when he propped up the first guy to look like he was still sitting.
Taking out trained soldiers is like a huge task, obviously. But even Rambo was an ex special forces guy.
That was kind of the whole point of the movie.
Yeah, I
was,
know.
like,
That's the
check out
whole
this
thing.
one
This
guy.
guy's badass. Yeah.
But we will forgive and forget and move because the thing was like he's tapped into his like thing he
primal
didn't want to
thing.
get into.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it drives that home when she's like, but then again she waits a second before she is about to cut him because she thinks he's like a zombie because he drives
Totally.
his fingers into that guy.
That's
She's like,
by
"Only-"
far the most gruesome kill of the movie. Like we
Easy.
see the infected kill and attack here and there, but his kill, Jim's kill on the soldier, was the craziest one.
And nowadays here, that's why this movie kind of holds up. Like the vomit scenes are the horrible scenes in this movie. Nowadays, especially with the movies that are coming out, we would have, it would be cool, but it would be the full prosthetics meets visual effects, blah blah blah
Right.
blah blah.
Moral of the story: leave the chimps alone. If the show Chimp Crazy didn't teach us anything, or the beginning of that movie Nope, then I don't know what will. Like, the whole reason any of this happened is that the PETA kids just couldn't mind their own business.
Well, also the scientists were being controlled by an evil government as far as my narrative goes. So
Right.
I guess
Just leave the chimps alone,
the
guys. Like,
chimps alone, and
yeah.
just let's all just meet and talk rather than bust in and yeah.
Okay. Well, with that,
And don't trust the government.
well, yeah, that goes without saying. I
That's
think.
in every
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
That's everything that we talk about. Yeah. Let's get into some grave matters.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so here on Bedlam Movie Night, we like to play a little twist on the game Fuck, Marry, Kill with fight, friend, or spare. I would fight one of the zombies. They seem pretty wily, and I'm kind of curious how I do in a bout with one of them. Like
Just don't
don't.
open your mouth, because if they literally just spit, like,
Yeah, I would definitely friend Frank. He's literally the best part of the film to me. I just want to have a beer with the guy, or like they do in the movie, a glass of creme de menthe. Yeah.
oh, by the way, did you see the irony when he's like goes for the hard shit when they're in the groceries, the same alcohol that the evil major drinks?
Oh, the whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Speaking
So
of
that's the father figure
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. I would also spare Frank.
I
hate to
literally
see him
had
go.
that and I changed it. Yeah. I was like, I can't do that, and I switched
Oh
it up.
yeah. Whenever I was writing this, I was like, "Oh, I'm definitely doing both."
I was like, I'll spare Frank so I can be friends with him. I was like, I can't start that. We'll never end that. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
So I will friend Farrell, the guy who
The
defended
sergeant.
the
Yeah.
women.
Right.
And then I would fight the major.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And I would spare Frank.
Okay.
Even if Frank doesn't want to be my friend, I'll still spare him.
Yeah.
And then Farrell, I'll be friends with him till he gets shot, and I'm cool with that.
My favorite moment of the film was when Jim sets the zombie that they have tied up in the backyard, when he sets him loose on the soldiers. There's a moment when the zombie looks at him and they make eye contact, and it's like, what are you implying? That the zombie's understands what's going on? It's like, I like that moment because I was like, it's a hell yeah moment because you know what's
Still
about to
just
go
misses
down.
it, yeah.
But I'm also like, that zombie would devour you in a heartbeat.
Right, right.
There's no
You let me out,
there's
yeah.
there's no camaraderie here. It reminds me of when you're on shrooms and you make eye contact with a coyote or something.
Yeah,
and
they're just
you're like, oh, you understand me. It's like, no, that is a wild animal.
That thing is just gonna go eat the first thing in front of
He
it.
has no idea what or who you are.
And he was on a trip like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my favorite moment would be, I appreciate the being alone in the city thing. In retrospect, I really like the moment where the daughter is it sucks that she's on drugs, why she's on drugs. But when she's loopy and she's just talking shit to them, and she's kind of just a creepy girl, and she's like, "You'll die up there.
Yeah.
He's coming to kill you." Yes. And yeah, but I really liked that part.
Actually, that made me think of when you said Alone in the City. I thought of Will Forte in the Last Man on Earth or something, that show he did. It's now I want to see a version of this with that character. How would Will Forte as the last man alive do in 28 Days Later?
We'll get there eventually as we continue to recycle the zombie, vampire thing, But
interesting connection though with Hannah, when she's on drugs and she's dressed in that red dress. That's definitely a tie-in to Resident Evil. Wasn't the hologram the girl that's shutting the whole place down? She's
I could see that.
in red, right?
And speaking of the red dress, also to just add more things there in the ending scene when they're putting the hello up, she's sewing all of the dresses into
Right,
clothing and just
savior,
reusing it for them,
Right.
rather taking their trauma and reusing it.
So, my question of the day is, would you get in shape if there was a zombie apocalypse in order to be able to outrun the monsters? Would you see it and be like, all right, I gotta get myself together if I'm going to figure this out? Do you think you'd have the discipline? Because I don't think I would. I think I'd be like, yeah, if this is gonna happen.
Brother, I'm up at 5:30 every day going to the gym for that exact reason. You think it's any other reason than that exact reason? My God, it's a fucking hopeless plight if you think it's something like health and women. It's zombies. That's the only reason to go. My question for you is, what's your personal favorite zombie movie?
Ooh, damn.
I know, it's tough.
That is a tough one. I like parts of so many, and they're all like kind of the George Romero ones. I think it's Return of the Living Dead, the one with the punks in the graveyard, and the guys are in the basement. That one's just zany. It's so crazy and intense.
And it hits a lot of important things to hit. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a phase where I really dug Dawn of the Dead, the one where they're in the mall.
Really cool,
Just because, like, that whole idea, again, like, a place that's usually filled with people and you have your free reign of this thing. Like, there's something, there's like a novelty thing to that.
Yeah, and I like that when, that was back when the zombie narrative was like, oh, we love shopping, we love TV, and then this movie was like, we're angry as fuck. We're angry,
everybody. Yeah, that shows you, like, it's like, the original Woodstock versus Woodstock 99.
Yeah. Well, it shows you, the change of like, oh, we have it so comfortable, we just watch too much TV and eat too many TV dinners to we can't afford to sprain our ankle.
Land of the Dead, the one with John Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper, is just a random one that I'm like never expected.
The random ones are the ones that like are gonna start boiling to the top these days, especially since we're just doing zombie, vampire. We need a Teen Wolf.
Right.
But they're trying with Wolfman, and holy shit, they're flopping. But, mine is also a random kind of like side one that kind of touches on everything, but never really like boiled to the top. Is Planet Terror? Did you ever see Planet Terror?
Oh, yeah, Robert Rodriguez. Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
That's the one where Rose McGowan has a machine gun on her leg.
Yeah, and
she loses a prosthetic leg.
The like blonde lady like kills her son by accident and shit like that.
Oh my God!
And she like leaves him with a gun, and she's like, if anyone comes here, you shoot him. And then she like makes it 2 feet from the car before the kid shoots himself.
Yes.
We told you there were spoilers, folks. But yeah, I mean, it's fucking phenomenal. We gotta do that one actually.
Yep. Well, I think that about does it for me. Got anything else?
That was a hell of a zombie adventure. I've never gone down deep. Yeah.
Definitely went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming, folks. We love you.
Yeah, thanks for showing up. And as always, to be continued.
And keep your eyes on the skis.